Your powers are weak, old man.
You can't win, Darth. If you strike me down, I shall become more powerful than you can possibly imagine.
Yes, Force Ghost, baby! Unlimited power! Huh. More powerful than you can possibly imagine. Really? Huh. Let's take a look at that claim, shall we? In Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope, or Star Wars to those of us old enough to have seen it in 1977 in the theaters, the cool father figure we all fell in love with in the first hour of the movie, Obi-Wan Kenobi, faces off against the greatest villain in science fiction history, Darth Vader. And we witness Darth cruelly cut Obi-Wan down with his lightsaber. But wait, what's this? Where did Obi-Wan go? What happened to Ben Kenobi? Is he running around the Death Star naked or something? I always like that Darth Vader steps on the robe with his foot just to make sure Obi-Wan isn't hiding or turned himself into a womp rat or something. Luke is understandably upset and takes out his anger on a group of stormtroopers who have obviously never fired a gun in their lives. Suddenly, not more than 20 seconds after Obi-Wan died, we hear his voice.
Run, Luke, run!
He lives. Obi-Wan lives. He's more powerful than we can possibly imagine. Well, as an old Corellian pirate I know once said, I don't know. I can imagine quite a bit. Let's go over what this impossibly powerful Force Ghost does in the movies. He tells Luke to run. He tells Luke the Force will be with him. He tells Luke to trust him and let go. He may or may not have had something to do with helping torpedoes make a 90-degree turn down a thermal exhaust port. That's a pretty powerful maybe. In Empire, he tells a probably dying Luke to go to the Dagobah system to find Yoda. He doesn't actually help Luke or give him specific directions to find Yoda somewhere on the face of an entire planet. Yeah, the Force led him. Whatever. He begs Luke not to face Vader and essentially let his friends die. He says, Luke, I don't want to lose you to the Emperor the way I lost Vader. Meaning, dude, I totally screwed up with your dad, but we haven't told you that yet, and I'd really rather you didn't find that out just yet. He then says, if you choose to face Vader, you will do it alone. I cannot interfere. Boy, this is some helpful, all-powerful ghost here. He even says, that boy was our last hope, but apparently he can't even be bothered in the afterlife to lift a glowing blue pinky to help him out. Also, Yoda reminds him that there is another. A little fact about the Skywalker family that apparently Obi-Wan forgot, or that George Lucas hadn't thought of yet. In Return of the Jedi, the first thing Ghost Ben says is, Yoda and I will always be with you. Except apparently when fighting against the most dangerous villain in the universe, who is, as it turns out, your father. Then we get to what we at The Rational Nerd like to call the big rationalization speech from Ben. Your father was seduced by the dark side of the Force. He ceased to be the Jedi Anakin Skywalker and became Darth Vader. When that happened, the good man who was your father was destroyed. So what I told you was true, from a certain point of view.
A certain point of view?
Wait, from a certain point of view? Like, that would hold up in court. Well, Your Honor, the dude I knew was a nice guy, but the serial killer he turned into was like a whole different guy, so from a certain point of view... From there, it gets even worse. Suddenly, Ben gives the Sister Ex Machina speech, hastily written by George Lucas, to help him get out of the corner that he'd painted himself into, despite giving no hint of this at any point in the previous two films. Oh, so now you remember the whole sister thing. Thanks, Ghost Ben. That sure would have come in handy back when, I don't know, I was trying to score with her. Then at the end of Jedi, he shows up with Ghost Yoda. By the way, where was Ghost Yoda all this time? It took Ghost Obi-Wan like 20 seconds to say something to Luke, and Yoda was vastly more powerful in the Force than Ben Kenobi. What took him so long? Maybe he figured, hey, for 900 years have I taught Jedi, and look how it ended it did. Taking a break I am. Force Ghost Anakin shows up too, which just adds to the confusion. So you can kill a bunch of kids and probably thousands of other people along your dark side journey, but you get to be a smiling Force Ghost at the end because you did one nice thing for your son. And is he old Anakin, or is he re-release young Anakin? I mean, if you can choose your Ghost Jedi form, don't you think Obi-Wan would rather be remembered like this? Wouldn't Yoda rather be remembered from his youth rather than his old age? So,
I will become more powerful than you can possibly imagine.
well, other than the possible assistance of bending some torpedoes in Star Wars, I'm not really seeing much evidence of great power. Granted, the ability to change into pure energy and hang around the universe after your body dies is pretty powerful. But in terms of how it affects the real world, not so much.
Of course, if he had said to Vader, "If you strike me down, I'll be able to avoid uncomfortable questions from Luke while Yoda and I try to train him to defeat you, even though he's not aware you're his father. And by the way, it's weird that you don't sense him right now as you're standing like 30 feet away from him, whereas the Emperor will be able to sense him from great distances, and you yourself will be able to sense him on a spaceship that's very far from you in the next movie. But that's okay, we'll figure it out later when that whole sister thing comes along too." It probably wouldn't have sounded quite as good. So that's what we think here at The Rational Nerd. What do you think? Are Force ghosts powerful, or is it just cool that you can see through them and that they glow blue? Let us know in the comments below or over on our Facebook page. And remember, keep it rational. See you next time.